everyone, it's April here and welcome back to my birthday art haul. This is going to be part 2. If you saw part 1 last week, you would have seen all the unboxing and the swatching of the materials. If not, I will leave the link, so go check it out and then come back to this one. So today I'm going to be showing you all the experimentation. We're going to start with this lovely little pencil sketch that I'm showing right here. So I'm just going to jump right in here and I'm just going to do some voiceover over the top of all of this. All of this video is going to be entirely voiceovered. Wish me luck. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I hate voiceover. I don't know why. I get stressed out doing it. I think it's because you guys can't see my face. You can't see the facial expressions and the hand gestures, and it just feels very unnatural to me. So I'm going to do my best to make this slightly interesting. Hopefully, though, the pretty pictures on the screen will capture your attention and my voice will just be kind of like a babbling brook in the background. It'll just be white noise. It will just relax you. Maybe, you know, you'll drift off into a slumber and you'll wake up having dreamt of art materials. Who knows? All right, enough rambling. I was going to say another word then, but I forgot. I was going to say enough waddling, but that doesn't make any sense, does it? Enough rambling. What am I doing? Okay, so I'm starting with this page here, which I decided I would try to use every single material on this page. It turns into a bit of a mess at the end. But firstly, I wanted to try and use this pencil blender. So I didn't show this in my art haul last week, but I actually got a pencil blender, and I think I saw Sarah Dyer's post on her blog on Jackson's Art about using this pencil blender. I'm not going to lie to you, Sarah, if you're watching. I don't think she watches my videos, but hi if you are, big fan. But if you have read that blog by Sarah Dyer, I commend you, because I just looked at the pictures and I saw the pencil blender and I thought, that looks fun. I'll get that. I haven't read the blog. I don't even know how to use this pencil blender. I actually looked on the tub before and it said, what did it say? It said something like, if you use this pencil blender with any other pencils other than Holbein pencils, it may not work. To which I thought, come on now, you're just trying to make us buy your pencils, aren't you? Surely it'll work with everything. And I didn't use it with Holbein pencils. I used it with Faber pencils and Caran d'Ache, and it worked fine. So Holbein, you know, come on, shape up. We know what you're trying to do, and we see past your games. So I'm actually moving on to the next page now. I actually wanted to try, I was waiting for this other page to dry, but basically while I was waffling on, I think that's what I tried to say earlier, while I was waffling on about Holbein stuff, on the other page there, I was just also working with the other water-soluble things, but we're going to go super detailed and deep into those other things, so don't worry about that. This first page was basically just me trying to draw a picture and trying to use every single colour, every single material known to man. It doesn't work out very well at the end, but I just wanted to try to see if I could basically fit every single material on one page. I succeeded in doing that, at least. This was of the graveyard. Maybe I'll pop the picture up on screen so you can see it. I saw this really cool tree, which looked like it had been cut in half, or like one part of the tree hadn't seen sunlight for many, many years, so it just grown on the other side. I just thought it was kind of cool. It was like a slice of a tree, if that makes sense. So that's what I drew, a slice of a tree. And on the left-hand side of the page there is when I used the pencil blender. On the right-hand side is when I used the water. I wanted to see how different the two looked. I can't tell the difference. They both work the same, honestly. I might have to work with that pencil blender a little bit more. This is a fan favourite though. And when I say fan favourite, I mean me. I'm the only fan in this scenario. But that art graph, white art graph tablet thingy, oh, I loved it. I used it so much over this week of doing all of these different like drawings and stuff. It was definitely probably my second favourite purchase after the Brushos, which were a highlight. And I have to thank my friend Artie for I think Artie mentioned the Brushos to me every time I do an art haul on Jackson's Art, I always message Artie and I ask her to enable me a little bit more. I'm like, Artie, I'm on Jackson's, my basket is fairly full right now, but is there anything you can recommend? And then I add more things to it. So Artie suggested the Brushos. They were my favourite. We're going to go super deep into those on the next page. But on the this page here that I'm doing now, that left box is the Brushos. The right hand side box are the Daniel Smith watercolor sticks. And then I was just playing around. I was drawing the same tree again, but I was trying to do it like negative space on one side and then, I don't know, something kind of crazy on the other side. And then I'm just messing around. This is just kind of like a messing around page. I messed around with mixing all the little swatches at the top there are the pencils, mixing them with the different blenders and things. And then on the bottom, I'm just using the gold Faber markers, trying them in different ways, like drawing on the page, wetting my brush with them, drawing over the top of them, literally just experimenting, doodling. I'm going to tell you, the whole time I was doing all of these images, I was watching and listening to the Gilmore Girls and Gilmore Guys podcast. So that was that little page. That was that little spread. And now we're going to move on. We're going to go deep into the materials. I decided after that first page, I was like, April. And I said this to myself, April, what are you doing? You're literally putting every single material and color onto this page. You need to slow your roll, you need to really try and figure out how to use these supplies and not just kind of try to make a smorgasbord of colors and shapes and textures. So I decided to use each individual material one by one, and that's what I do over the next few spreads. I started with the gold Faber pens. I'm not a huge watercolor marker fan. I think it's because in the past I haven't used the right sketchbooks. I've been using the the Art Talents, Art Creations, Royal Talents, whatever, those ones. I've recently started to use Pith. I started to use them about 6 months ago. The paper is much better than the Art Creations. Ask anyone, they'll tell you the same, but it's still not perfect. I think these were fine, you can see, but when you draw onto, if you're not fast, like really fast, it just soaks into the page. But it was fun. It was really fun. I think it might be nice to use on proper watercolor paper or in a better sketchbook, but I did enjoy using them. The other watercolor pens that I have a few. I have the Faber-Castell watercolor. They're like watercolor, I forgot the name of them. They're the really thick, chunky ones. I'm not a big fan of those. I think all the colors are too dark and dull. And I also have a lot of Ecoline watercolor brush pens. I love those. I love them, but I never use them with water. But these ones, I can see me using them with water because they have very vibrant colors. They're very juicy and smooth, if that makes sense. When you draw over, when you layer them on top of each other, you don't get all of that streaky lines that you get with some markers. And the colors are lovely. I decided to draw trees for all of these sketches. Because I've been in a bit of a tree mood recently. I've kind of come to the realization that I've forgotten how to draw trees. I used to draw them a lot. I used to be super into landscapes. I still love landscapes, but I took quite a big break. I was drawing other things. I was drawing birds and dogs and monsters and characters. And I came back to trying to draw landscapes a few weeks ago, and I just struggled with trees, with groups of trees and singular trees. So I decided to just try and become one with a tree, try to kind of morph myself into a tree, think, what is the tree thinking? What is it feeling? I didn't quite get that far in this session, but moving forward, hopefully we can become tree. But for this one, I just doodled. I drew the same tree over and over again. These trees are from Madeira. Guys, I'm living in the past. Take me back to Madeira. I just want to be back there, or on holiday. Honestly, anywhere. I just want to be on holiday, guys. The palm trees were my favorite to draw. I think I want to draw palm trees more. You don't get to draw much palm trees when you live in the UK. It's nice when you go abroad and you can draw the palm trees. Can you tell I'm just filling up space? Okay, so now we're moving on to the Daniel Smith's watercolor sticks. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not a watercolor artist. I never have been. When I first started to draw, again, as an adult, back in 2017, all those many years ago, I started with pencil, and then I moved on to watercolor, because I was like, you have to be a watercolor artist. That is what an artist is watercolor. And I never enjoyed it. I did try. I never enjoyed it. It wasn't until I found mixed media that I really became one with art, kind of similar how I want to become one with tree in the future. I became one with art. But now, going back and trying watercolor again, I always struggle with it. I got these sticks because I've been wanting them for ages. Guys, they were expensive. They were £12 for one water. Oh, we're finished. We're finished. We're going to move on. Okay, we're going to move on. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Brushos, and the Brushos are the star of the show. I love these guys so much. So much. I think I do talk about them quite a lot in the swatching video, how to get them onto the paper without causing a mess. I still haven't figured out a way. I used them for about 3 days, and I cause such, the dust gets everywhere, and it's quite difficult to control it. If you guys have used these Brusho things, please, if you have any advice on how to use them without causing damage to yourself, the furniture, the carpets, all of your belongings, please let me know. I'm going to be quiet now because I think there's a bit coming up with Martin. I'm explaining to him. Hey, do you like these?
Lovely colours.
They're these. Have you seen what these do? Should I show you? Look, watch this. It's crazy. Powder. Okay. You have to be careful though, because if this goes anywhere, you're dead. I'm dead. We're all dead. Isn't that cool?
Beautiful.
And some of these colours are crazy. Like this moss green. Look at the colour of it. And then look what colour it goes if I just sprinkle some in. Well, that wasn't really a lot, but you get what I mean. Sprinkle more in. That colour. Isn't that pretty?
Be nice with purples.
I don't have a purple, but I do have a Prussian blue, which is that blue there. So as you can see, I was very excited. I'm still excited. I'm looking forward to using these so much. They're so fun. I do think maybe I will try use them on a different paper because, again, I think this paper might soak in some of the material. It kind of seems a little dull to me when it's dry. I don't know if that's because it's dusty. I haven't put enough water in. But I'm happy and I'm looking forward to playing with these more. They were so fun, guys. And speaking of price, I know that I was cut off talking about Daniel Smith sticks. These guys were so cheap. I think they were maybe £3 or £4, not even that, per pot. And these will last. I think these will last you a long time. So even if you're curious, but you're a little bit worried about getting more materials, I know we tend to overspend and we tend to hoard stuff. If you're anything like me, I'm saying we because I don't want to take all that responsibility on myself. But if you're like me, and maybe you're worried about buying more stuff, just get 1 or 2 if you're curious. So much fun. The Daniel Smith sticks though that I'm talking about, they were £12 each, guys. So I think these are worth it. Daniel Smith's, unless you're a watercolor artist, I don't know. I don't think I can recommend it and sleep at night, just because they were expensive. Anyway, we're moving on. All right, I'm coming to the last page now. So this is the last page and I'm using the paints and then I'm going to pop some stuff over the top of them. So I was having so much fun with the Brushos. I also made a little mix and chart and I did some other little bits that I didn't film. But I wanted to see how the Brushos mixed in with paint. I thought that would be so fun. I popped a whole bunch of the acrylic gouache on. I popped a few little dust sprinkles here and there, and it mixes in with the paint so nicely. I actually think I really like it mixing in with the paint because it doesn't have that dull, dusty look that I was talking about just a second ago. It mixes in with the paint. It kind of changes the color. It's so nice. I think I'll pop the picture up on screen so you can see what I was painting if I can find it. It was just a tree. I painted 3 times, but I do a different background for each. I kind of just used the trees as something to draw. I wasn't too worried about how this turned out, about making anything accurate. I just kind of wanted to play with the materials. And I think for me, doing swatches and things is fine. like swatches is nice, it's relaxing. But for me, the only way I can truly figure out how to use a material is to use it and make mistakes with it and make like art that you're not too happy with. And then you finally, it clicks and you're like, oh, this works great with this, or that color goes so nicely with this, or look how this, goes on top of this, etc., etc. And take the word this and just like put any art material in its place. So I wanted to try the Brushos in different ways. I've already mixed it in with paint. I've put it on the page, and now I'm mixing it with water in these palettes and kind of using it like a liquid watercolor. And this worked so nicely. The only thing I would say is it didn't have like the super, super vibrancy of when it was like in powder form on the page. So I think it's really cool, but maybe like you could make, if I was going to use like an orange, I could make like 3 palettes of orange and have them more and more saturated, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making much sense right now. It's the end of the day. I'm tired, but I hope that you're enjoying this rambling anyway. Let's just continue, shall we? I'm mixing in those chalk paints in with everything. I'm just basically having a blast. I was mixing and matching, and here I wanted to try something that I see people do a lot online on the internet, and it's put in like a big fluorescent background. I've seen people do this before with bright pink, like I think that's pretty popular, but I wanted to do bright yellow because I love it sometimes when the colors, especially the greens and the blues, they layer on top of the yellow, and it just makes everything like glow and sheen. It's so nice. So this panel here at the bottom, I just made it up, which I don't normally do. I try not to use my imagination too much. But I used completely just my imagination for this one. No reference images whatsoever. It was quite difficult. Normally when I'm making something, I'll always use reference. Even if I don't completely copy that thing. Normally I don't completely copy something, but I always try and use it as a starting point just because I find it so difficult to start from nothing. Even, I think I mentioned this, it was a TikTok video that I made. It was when I was doing like an image from Madeira and I was doing plein air. Even when I'm doing plein air, I will start obviously looking at what's in front of me, but then about halfway through, I'll just start making stuff up. Like a tree isn't there, but it will go there, I'll make up a bush. I'll just pop things anywhere. And I don't mind doing that. Like I'm quite comfortable doing that when I started an image, but I find it so difficult to start with like nothing. But I did it with this. I just started with nothing. I think it turned out okay. I just wanted to do a hill with some little houses, and it kind of gets a little bit weird towards the end. You'll see. So I'm dipping backwards and forwards between the 2 different pictures because I was just waiting for things to dry. But I don't know if you saw, but I added on some kind of lighter hill shapes with the Brusho, liquid Brusho, and waited for that to dry. And then I'm just going over the top with some pencils and some other bits and pieces. And what I did is I actually worked from the right to the left. So on the right hand side is I copied the tree exactly. I'll see if I can pop it on screen for you. And then I just kind of like stylized it using the similar shape, but I stylized it for those other 2 images. And sometimes I need to do this too, because I also find that drawing trees from imagination is quite hard. Sometimes I forget how trees are formed. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe my brain just can't contain all the information, so it just deletes stuff. It makes sense. I just kind of popped a whole bunch of stuff on here, trying out different materials. I really like using the skinny side of these markers, especially when it's almost the same color as the background, so it doesn't like stand out too much. And here I was trying like some light rays. Yeah, kind of light rays. Oh, I also really loved using these pastel pencils. I didn't talk about these too much. I'm not a big fan of pastel pencils, but I grabbed a couple because a lot of people were telling me about these Caran d'Ache pastels. They were really lovely, and I really enjoyed using them over the top of stuff. They popped so much. So I'm going to have to keep that one in the back pocket and get that out on a rainy day. Probably not a rainy day because I think these are actually water soluble. So jokes. So yeah, this is when this bottom panel gets a bit meh, because I was like, oh, let's pop some trees in. And then I couldn't figure out what color, what branches. Everything looked terrible. So I actually ended up going over it a few times with water and just kind of dissolving everything and drawing over the top of it. I do that like 3 or 4 times until we get to the end of the, like, there I am. I'm erasing it all with water, which is a great thing with using water soluble materials, is that you can literally just use water like an eraser. And this is, I'm just layering stuff. I mean, there's not really much to talk about anymore. But that's it. I'm coming to the end of the voiceover part now. We got through it together. I hope I didn't go off topic too much. Like I mentioned, voiceover isn't my favourite, but I also didn't want to film for like 4 hours, 5 hours and talk the whole time. Like I mentioned, I was watching a lot of Gilmore Girls while I did this. But yeah, anyway, I'm coming to the end of voiceover, so I'll pass you over to me in the past. So, as you can see, my desk is an absolute mess. I've been working on with these materials for maybe, well, about 2 weeks, but on and off for the last couple of days. And I think I finished playing with them for this video. It's been quite a lot of play actually for one video. So I'm just going to go through them quickly what I did again. So this was my swatch page where I swatched all the colours out, and then I used every single colour known to man that I had to make this chaos. A lot of this stuff is kind of ugly, but it's just testing the material, and I don't know, some of it turned out okay. And then I was using the different materials to make trees. I focused on trees, which I thought was quite nice. These were the markers. This is actually probably my favourite tree of all of the trees I've made. The Brusho stuff is so... Oh no, this is the Daniel Smith's water stick thingies, which I definitely need more practice with. But it gives some really nice texture. I really like flicking the paint around. That was super fun. Then we moved on to the Brushos, which I'm obsessed with. I still need to figure them out because I think they dull a bit. These are quite dull. I don't know if it's the paper or if they've been rubbing against each other, or the extra dust is on the page. But you can get some super bright stuff, but then also kind of dull, dark tones. So I definitely want to play with these more, but this was with just the Brusho. This was, I think, mixing it in with the white art graph thingy-mabobby. This was just splattering and making a big mess, and then I tried a little mix in. And then this page I just finished just now. It was so chaotic. I was watching YouTube videos and stuff while I was doing this, so I was very distracted, but I quite like some of these actually. This, I tried different ones. So this is just with, it's Brushos and paint mixed together with some pencils on top. This was using markers on top with some, I mean, I think I probably talked through some of this as I was going, maybe, but yeah, this was super fun. And then I just finished this off, which I used this yellow underneath, and it was super cool. I really like how it gives everything a tone. I did find it, I made this up, I wasn't looking at any reference, which is why I made stuff and then I rubbed it out, and then I put stuff on, then I rubbed it out with water, because everything's water soluble, so I just erased it with water basically. But I like this little section here with the sheep and the houses. But yeah, that's it. That was all of the materials that I got. I think I pretty much used all of them in this video, so I hope that you enjoyed seeing them. Tell me which your favourite material was. I think for me, my favourite new material was definitely these Brushos. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with them. But that was the video. So probably the last art haul that I'll make for a while, hopefully. Fingers crossed I have some self-control. I don't think I need to buy anything else now for a while. So that's all for me today. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.